Hi everyone, and look who it is! I brought in Steve Mould. Oh wow, Steve Mould from the Steve Mould channel.
That's the name of the channel, yeah.
Wow! And
cool.
Today I brought in Steve because I wanted to talk a little bit about Wordle. That's the big craze at the moment.
Yes.
So have you been playing Wordle?
I do play Wordle, yes.
How are you getting on?
I've good. I've not lost yet.
Yeah. Do you know why? Do you know why? It's too easy.
Oh.
That's the thing I found with Wordle. I found Wordle way too easy. But I started getting into this Wordle, and then I started looking back at really what the game Wordle is based on, which is, hey, this thing. It's
Mastermind.
Mastermind. Mastermind from the 1970s, which is, I think, a little bit harder and I think a little bit more interesting, and I got really into the maths of it.
Yeah.
So did you play Mastermind?
Yeah, so I played Mastermind as a kid, so it was brilliant when you asked me about it. And what's funny is that I played Wordle and I just didn't make the link, but they are very similar games.
Yeah, so the idea is you're picking a code, we're playing as a two-player game, and you're trying to work out my secret code.
Yeah.
That's the idea. I never played this actually, so this is all new to me, although I was very aware of this very famous picture on the front, which you can just invent your whole backstory about what's going on here. I think that's why it sold so well.
Yeah.
Just people want to know what's going on with this picture. So we should play a game and sort of explain Mastermind as we go, right?
All right, great.
I've picked a secret code here. So it's a 4-digit, let's call it a 4-digit code of 4 colours. You've got to work out what those 4 colours are.
Right, and I've got 6 colours to choose from.
6 colours to choose from, so 6 colours and a 4-digit code.
Okay, so under here there are 4 cards of different colours. Can I double up a colour?
Yes,
okay.
so repeats. Yes, repeats are allowed.
So I could say orange, orange if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that because that feels like not a good technique. I don't know.
I don't know.
So I'm going to go orange, yellow, and then I'm red, and finally green.
Okay.
That's my guess.
So that's your first guess. Now, my job here is to give you a response.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you clues about which you got right, or which you got right maybe in the wrong position. So I'm going to tell you that, okay, you got one colour right in the right position.
Yes.
You got one colour right in the wrong position, and I indicate this with a black dot, so correct in the correct position, and a white dot, correct but in the wrong position. Wordle uses green and yellow, so if you played your Wordle, that's the idea.
First difference with Wordle is that I don't know which is the right one in the right place. Yeah. And that's huge, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep playing. Should we just cut to the end when I've got to nearly the end?
Yeah, you got it.
Let's do that then. Okay. Okay. That's useful.
So weird. I'm looking for if there's an age range on this, like 8.
That's good. So I know that this is pink. Oh, I forgot that there might be double the colours in there.
Okay, so Steve is waiting with bated breath.
I can hear the circles being coloured in. Yes! That's great.
Wow!
There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's the reveal.
So very slow reveal.
There it is.
Ta-da! You got it. How do you feel about that?
I feel all right about
that. There is a method, however, that can solve every game in 5 or fewer moves.
That's amazing.
So there is an algorithm. Would you like to learn that algorithm?
I would.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
So I'm going to show Steve now this algorithm that can solve any Mastermind game in 5 moves or fewer.
Yes.
And it does that by thinking one step ahead, thinking about all the possible responses you're going to get from me, and then thinking about the least worst case scenario.
Okay.
So consider the worst case scenario.
Avoid that.
And then avoid that. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So just for the benefit of explaining it,
yeah,
I'm going to consider a smaller game of Mastermind. I'm going to pick a 2-digit code.
Okay.
So that makes it easier. And I guess the other way to make it easier is I'm not going to use 6 colours. I'll use 4 colours. Yeah. Just to make it a smaller game. And talking about colours gets a bit awkward, so I'm just going to use numbers. There are 16 possible codes. Here they are. Yeah. Right, so it could be 1 1, 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, 2 1, 2 2, 2 3, 2 4, 3 1, 3 2, 3 3, 3 4, 4 1, 4 2, 4 3, and 4 4.
Yes.
So now I've picked my secret, which I will put up here, that we're going to try and work out.
Yeah.
And you're going to try and work that out, but you're going to pick as your first guess one of these combinations. Now you're going to get a response from me. That's the black and white pegs in Mastermind. Again, we'll just turn that into numbers. You got 0 0. It means 0 black pegs, 0 white pegs. You got nothing right. Right. Nothing right at all. If you got a 0 1, that's 1 white peg. That means you've got 1 correct digit in the wrong place. 0 2, 2 correct digits but in the wrong places. Yeah. 1 0, 1 correct digit in the right place. And 2 0 would be 2 correct digits in the correct places. That would be solved. Yeah. That would be the correct answer.
And so, why isn't there a 1 1?
Yeah, that is interesting, because if you think about it, that wouldn't be possible. That would mean if you had a 1 1, you'd have 1 correct digit in the right place and 1 correct digit but not in the right place. Oh. And that wouldn't be possible.
Because how could you put it in the right place?
Yeah, exactly, in a 2-digit code. Yeah. So that means there are only these 5 possible responses to consider, which is kind of nice. Yeah. So we're going to go through all these 16 possibilities. Sounds like a lot of work.
Well, here's the thing though, I was thinking about this. So I could choose 1 1 as my starting thing. Yeah. Or I could choose 2 2 as my starting thing. Yeah. And in a sense, there's no difference between those two. Especially when you think about it as colours, there's no difference between choosing red red and purple purple. Because, whereas, if I chose 2 1, that is in some sense materially different to choosing 1 1, because so you can either choose 2 the same or 2 different.
You're right. So we can speed this up by considering, we call it symmetry or equivalence or something like that. Yeah. Either both the same or they're both different. That means we only have to consider really 2 cases. Okay. So you could think about 1 1 as your first guess. You can have 1 2 as your first guess, and everything else is either equivalent to them both being the same or both being different. So let's start with 1 1. Let's say your guess was 1 1. And if I gave you a response of 0 0, that means you didn't get anything right. Okay. That means the secret code doesn't have a 1 in it. Yeah. So how many possibilities do we have left? That's my question. It's not 1 1. Yeah. But it's not 1 2, and it's not 1 3, and it's not 1 4. Yeah. Because it doesn't have a 1 in it. Or 2 1 2, or 3 1 4 1. So it's not that column, it's not that row, basically.
So we've got everything left 3 by 3. So we've got 9 possible.
All that. Yeah. So you would have 9 possibilities left. That's the idea. Okay. We're going to do the same idea for each one of these responses. Yeah. Which you can try out yourself, but we're just going to do a magic of editing and jump cut. Hey! So we're back, and we've filled in this column as well. That's it really. That's all you have to do for this. And the idea then is to pick an option that's going to give you the least worst case scenario. I mean, what are the worst case scenarios? Yeah, exactly. So if you picked 1 1, the worst case scenario would be having a 0 0 back. Yeah. And there'd be 9 possibilities left. Right. And if you picked 1 2, the worst case scenario would be getting a 1 0 back.
Fingers crossed it's not that.
Okay. And there'd be 6.
Okay.
But out of those 2 choices then, you'd go for 1 2.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I choose 1 2.
You're choosing 1 2 because it's the least worst case scenario. Okay. So 1 2 is our guess. Shall I do a little thing? Okay, 1 2 as our guess. I will give you a response. It was actually a 1 0. So you are in this situation here. Right. So there are 6 possibilities left. Shall we write those out?
Let's see what they are
on the board.
Yeah.
It's 1 1, 1 3, 1 4, or 2 2, 3 2, or 4 2.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it's not this one, because if you put that one in and it was right, you would actually have got 2-0.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if 1-2 was the actual answer, we would have got 2-0. Yeah, exactly. So we can now go through the same procedure. Just put those possibilities in. So we could have 1-1, and we'll think about the responses there. Yeah. We could have 1-3. We can think about the responses there. Yeah. We could have 1-4, which I'm not going to write in, because 1-4 is actually going to give us the same sort of responses as 1-3. So using that symmetry argument again, if I did 2-2, I'm going to get the same responses as I had with 1-1 here. So I'm going to use the symmetry argument again. In fact, that's it. We've only got 2 things to consider, which makes our life a bit easier. Okay, so let's say you picked 1-1 next, and the response was 0-0. That means it's not going to be 1-1.
No.
It means it's not going to be 1-3 because you got nothing right. It's not going to be 1-4 because you got nothing right. It might be 2-2. It might be 3-2, and it might be 4-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just eliminated a row, basically.
Yeah. So let's write in our possibilities here. So now we've filled in 1-3 as well, and we now make our next choice.
Yeah.
Do you want to choose 1-1 or do you want to choose 1-3? And really, what is the least worst case scenario?
Yeah. So this is the worst case scenario, so don't bother with this one. We're going to choose 1-3.
So I can tell you the response is going to be 0-1 here.
So you've given me one white peg, which means only one of these numbers is right, and it's in the wrong position. Yeah,
which means it can't be 1-1, because that would have one correct in the correct position.
Yeah.
It can't be 2-2, because that means you would have had nothing correct here.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't have worked. It can't be 4-2, because you would have had nothing correct.
Yeah.
But 3-2 would be a valid response. It would be 3 being correct but in the wrong position. And that is the one possibility left. And if we look at our secret, 3-2 was our answer. So you would guess 3-2 next. So that would be solved in 3 steps. So that is the least worst case scenario algorithm.
Can I have a pen? Sorry, just for my own satisfaction. I won!
So what we've just shown there is the general algorithm, right? Looking for this least worst case scenario. That's the algorithm, that's how it works. It is quite difficult, and that's why I picked a smaller example of Mastermind that only had a 2-digit number. Instead of a 4-digit number using 6 colours. If you did the full Mastermind, though, that algorithm still works the same. And as I explain it, that algorithm will solve every game of Mastermind in 6 moves or fewer.
You said 5.
I know. I have lied to you in one place, because when I did this explanation, when we were picking our choices, I always wanted to pick from the list of the valid remaining possibilities. That's what I did here.
Yeah.
If you do that, then every game can be solved in 6. But if you expand your choices, each step you consider the full list of possibilities, including the ones that you
can't be right.
That can't be right, that you've already eliminated, then the maximum goes down from 6 to 5. There are some games of Mastermind where you need to use the invalid, already eliminated possibilities to reduce the game to 5 moves instead of 6.
I was going to say that's counterintuitive, but then I remembered the way I play Wordle is a bit like that sometimes. So, you get the green letters, you think, well, I've got those now. I should keep using those until I get the right answer. But sometimes it makes sense to just do a completely new word that doesn't use those letters, and then you're eliminating stuff.
Shall we talk about what we've just learned?
Yeah.
Shall we think about what we've just done?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
With the full Mastermind version of the algorithm, I want to know what's the best starting code.
Yeah, so you do the same thing, right? So you look at all your possible first guesses.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some symmetry in that, which makes it a bit nicer. And you look at all the possible responses.
Yeah.
And you look at the least worst case scenario, and it turns out that the best first guess in proper Mastermind is 1-1-2-2.
Right.
Whatever colours you want that to be, right? 1, 1, 2, 2, right? Red, red, yellow, yellow, something like that.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And then from there, you could do the same sort of procedure. Which you're going to do, right? Now that I've taught you this.
No, because it's
what's wrong with that?
Like when we were playing the 2-digit version of the game, I feel like a human could follow that algorithm.
Yeah.
But the full version of the algorithm, I feel like, hey, that's cool for computers, but I'm not a computer.
It's really hard. Maybe a more human strategy is just to pick a guess that's consistent with what you've learnt already. And I think that's how people play. So if you use that sort of method, then the worst possible game takes 10 steps. But that's kind of unlucky if it takes 10 steps.
What's the average?
I think something like 4.638
Okay, that's
steps.
good.
So it's like 4 or 5 steps.
What's the average of the algorithm? The big one, the computer one?
The average of the big one, so that was a maximum of 5 steps, which I think is interesting, but the average is 4.478.
So it's only a little bit better.
It's only a little bit better. Depends on what you care about, the average or that maximum step, like the worst possible game you could have.
Yeah.
Although if you really are interested in the average, we can actually bring that down further. It is a computer method again, though.
Okay.
So using computers, they did a full deep search into every possibility, every possible game, every possible choice you would make at each step.
Yes.
And they looked for the series of choices you would have to make to bring down that average to be as low as possible, right? And so we actually know what the optimal strategy is. Gives you that true minimum average.
Because I suppose with the strategy as you described it, you could say, well, look, this is the best thing for me to choose now, but actually you might look a step ahead and think and find out that actually I should have chosen this slightly worse thing because it's much better later on. That's exactly
what they did. The actual proper average is 4.340. Right? Okay. That's as small as an average we can get. That is optimal. Strangely though, the maximum, the worst game, would have 6 steps. And there are more methods. So there's this purely optimal method. There's this like humanly possible, randomly consistent. There's this least worst case scenario. There are other methods, and I'm not going to show you all my research. And if you want to know that, look in the description, because there are loads of different methods that have slightly different averages, slightly different maximums. There's so many possibilities. But now, tell you what I've learned from this. Now that I've been playing Mastermind, I've learned that I actually just do the randomly consistent strategy. I'm perfectly happy just picking just random possibilities as long as it doesn't contradict something from before. And I solve things in, like I said, sort of 4 or 5 moves. I should note, by the way, Mastermind did not invent this game. This game is actually older than Mastermind. It goes back like 100 years, although the original game was called Bulls and Cows, which is a really weird name for the game. It's the same game. The Bulls and Cows are meant to be referring to the black pegs and the white pegs. I don't understand why it was called Bulls and Cows. Same game, although Bulls and Cows, as it was originally played, was a 4-digit number using 0 to 9. Without repeat, so it's slightly different variation of the game. Basically, same game but with sort of a variation. You can do the complete same analysis on it as they did with Mastermind. Turns out every game can be solved in 7 moves or better. Say exactly the same maths goes into that as well, but there was a game before Mastermind as well.
There is a version of Wordle called Absurdle where they don't have an answer at the start of the game. Instead, whenever you present them with a word, it gives you the worst possible lights based on that word. And it will continue to give you the worst lights while still being consistent with what it's told you before.
Well, that's exactly the algorithm I showed you, right? So what Absurdle is doing is it's picking the response that has the worst case scenario,
that
right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Right, with the most possibilities left, which is exactly the algorithm we were going through. Just that at each step, it hasn't predetermined the secret. Yeah. It just gives you the worst case scenario at each step. Yeah. So if you were playing Absurdal, or if you were playing that version of that using Mastermind, then we can beat it, because we now know, even if your adversary is using the worst case scenario every time, you can solve every game in 5 moves or better. So use the algorithm I taught you. Yeah. You will solve it in 5 moves.
Or I can solve it in 10 moves.
Yeah, I think that's right.